Hey everybody, it's Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Today we're going to talk about two-string arpeggios. Basically what this is going to be is taking the notes of a chord, which is what the notes of an arpeggio are, say a D major chord, which would be a D, F sharp, and an A, and we're going to play the first note on each of those three, always on one string, and then go up one string in pitch, or so we play the D on the second string, and then on the first string we're going to play the F sharp and then the A. So that gives us the full arpeggio. Now we're going to do this with major and minors and a diminished shape as well, and we're going to do this on multiple strings. Okay, so this really makes for some nice legato playing and some nice cool picking patterns. So let's get right into it. You should download the tab PDF download. You'll find the link in the video description, and let's get right to it. So what I was doing right there in the intro there to this lesson was basically playing the notes of a triad. So let's go down here to the D majors here. A D major triad is spelled D, F sharp, and A. So if I start here with this D on the second string, and then I have an F sharp on the first string, and then an A on the second string, on the first string as well. All right, so now how am I picking that? To get some speed out of that, because when you're crossing strings, it can be kind of difficult. So what a lot of people do is they kind of play it, and there's like a few different ways of doing it. Now let's go through them. The first one would be to go a downstroke on this second string, then a downstroke on the first string. So it's going to be a sweep across two strings. Make sure the separation comes from down here. Down here it's just sweeping straight across those two strings. The separation is going to come from your left-hand fingers. Then you're going to reach for that pinky note at the 5th fret here on the first string. You're going to pick that with an upstroke, and you're going to pull back off to that 2nd fret. So we have this. So it's a 4-note pattern. So it's a sweep across two strings, then an upstroke. So that is the root position version of D, which basically means we have D as being the first note. Now if we move this and wanted to play first inversion, which is basically reorganizing those notes, instead of D being in the root of the chord and the bass voice of the chord as you would, it's going to be F sharp instead. So instead of a D, F sharp, A, we're now going to have F sharp, A, and D is going to be the highest note. So how do we do that? Well, move this up to the F sharp, but we're going to keep the same amount of number of notes on each string. So it's just going to be that F sharp on the second string, then this A on the first, and then reach up and grab that D. It's kind of a stretch there with your pinky. And we do the same picking pattern. So that is your first inversion shape. That's a D major triad as well. It's just using a different note in the chord as in the bass. All right, and then we have A, D, and F sharp, which is the second inversion of it. And that's just going to be the A here on the second string, D on the first, and then F sharp on the 14th fret on the first string. That might be a little bit more difficult because you have kind of a roll there. And then the shapes just repeat. The same one we started with is 12 frets higher, and so forth, depending on how many frets you have in your guitar. You can move all those shapes up an octave. Now, so that is for the major triads. Now for the minor, we're basically just going to have to change one note. That F sharp is now always going to be an F. So instead of this, with this F sharp at the 2nd fret, we're going to move that down to F at the 1st fret. And then F here on the 2nd string. All right, and then F here on the 1st string. And then going up in octaves. All right, so that's the minor shapes. Now, a couple different ways that you can pick this thing is not only doing the sweep across two strings and an upstroke. you can just do, well, first you can pick them. You can pick each one. You can like start with a down, down, up, down, up. It's a 4-note picking pattern, so the picking will always be the same. Okay, so that's obviously going to be a little bit more difficult to do. And then probably the easiest way to do it is to do a sweep. Just 2 downstrokes. And then hammer on and then pull off in that last note. So I'm just hitting those notes and then just doing legato after that. That's probably the smoothest way. So really use the way, you should practice all 3 and just use the one that you think you need for that particular, that sound, because they all sound a little bit differently because they're being articulated a little bit differently. And lastly, we're going to talk about how to move these things to the second and third string pairs. Now there's going to be a little bit different shapes. Now the pairs are always, this is always going to be the root shape. For the first and second strings, the third and fourth string, the fourth and fifth, and the fifth and sixth. The shapes will never change. The root shape for both the major and minor and the first inversion, so everything's the same. The only thing you have to change is when you move to between those second and third strings, since the tuning is different between those 2 strings. So let's go through those very quick. All right, so let's do this. Let's start with a C major triad. So there's a root position, C, E, and G. That is 5th fret, and then 8th fret here. You should just be following along here in the tab printout. It'd be a little bit easier. Okay, that's first inversion. And then we move up here to second inversion. It's going to have E in the bass. Remember, these notes are C, E, and G for C major. All right, then we move it to a G in the bass. Now this one is going to be, it's a little awkward actually. Not used a lot. Just because of how it's laid out. But those 2 string sets are going to be just a little bit more awkward. But you know, everything else though, it's just like we're going to do this. We're going to take the third and lower it a half step, and we'll have C, E flat, and G, and turn all those into C minors. Okay, so I recommend trying to take these things and do like I did in the intro here and just kind of string them along and maybe create entire pieces of little music with them. You can start out by doing something like this. Let's go to the D major. So let's do all these triads in D major. So we're going to do a chord scale. We're going to do all the 7 triads in D major up to scale using these triad shapes. So basically we have the D major chord that we had earlier. We're going to do all root position here, by the way. So off the one chord in the key of D major is a D major, of course. So, and then we're going to slide up here to 2. Now the 2 chord in D major is E minor. So we're going to play the minor shape off of this E. And then we have off the F sharp, the 3rd tone in D major is, the 3rd chord is a minor chord. So off that F sharp, it's going to be F sharp minor, the minor shape again. Then we have a major off the 4th tone, which is G, so it's G major. A major off the 5th, which is A. Then the B minor, so the minor shape. Now we're going to have this C sharp diminished triad, which now I'm going to show you this diminished shape here. It's going to be your 14th fret here on the 2nd string, 12th fret on the 1st, and then 15th fret on the 1st. And then all the way up to the root position of where we started. Now, a lot of times when people use that diminished triad, they just take the same shape and just kind of move it in 3 fret intervals from each other and keep the shape the same. It's symmetrical like that, so you do it like that. The diminished version on the 2nd, 3rd string is the 13th fret, 12th fret on the 2nd, and then 15th fret on the 2nd. It's just staying the same, just taking it up and down 3 notes. That actually makes it a D minor 7, D diminished 7 triad. But anyway, that's usually how they do the diminished stuff. So take this and see if you can just kind of string these along, and now that you have all those in D major, just have fun playing along with the You know, just kind of just going between those shapes just in D major, and you can write something that makes musical sense. All right, so have fun with this. Please go to guitarlessons365.com, support the site in any way you can, and please let me know what lessons you would like to see. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.